In this session, I'll be explaining ICP, that's intracranial pressure, and causes, clinical features, and the mechanism. And I'm not explaining regarding the management, that will be done later. What is ICP? It is defined as a pressure within the craniospinal compartment. So how it increases? The causes are hydrocephalus, bleeding, cerebral edema, aneurysm, brain injury or head injury, brain lesions, encephalitis or meningitis. I'm not going to explain the terminologies because everyone knows it. So in this slide, I'm going to explain the mechanism. So for that, we divide the brain into three parts. Okay. So in this picture, we can see the brain. So the outermost, the hardest part is cranium or the skull. So the brain is situated inside. You can see the pointer. So that's the brain. Then the blue color which you can see is CSF. Then you can see the choroid plexus where the CSF is produced. Then the ventricles, third ventricle, lateral ventricle, and fourth ventricles. Then I draw this red color. This is a artery which supplies the blood to the brain, and this is the vein which carries the blood from the vein. So anatomically this is not correct. For explaining purpose, I just draw it. I mentioned earlier we can divide the skull in three main volumes. First one, this is the brain volume. That's the brain matter. The next one is the blue one is CSF volume. Then next one is the blood, the amount of blood present inside the brain. If you are calculating the brain mass or the brain weight, in weight it will be like approximately 1300 grams to 1500 grams. But if I am calculating in volume, so it will be approximately 1300 ml to 1500 ml. Then the CSF volume approximately 130 ml, and the blood volume will be also 130 ml. Everybody knows that the CSF is produced in the choroid plexus. Then it will circulates through the lateral ventricle, fourth ventricles, the lateral ventricles, and the third ventricles, and then it goes down to the spinal cord. Then it comes back to the brain. Then it is absorbed in the dural sinuses. Then it is joining in the venous circulation. I told there is a three main volumes: brain volume, CSF volume, and the blood volume. These together will call Manu-Kelly doctrine. So if there any increase in these volumes, ICP will increase. So CPP, what is CPP? CPP is a cerebral perfusion pressure. So you can see I draw the artery. This artery is carrying blood to the brain and nutrients for the perfusion. So this pressure is known as CPP. So that will be normal around 60 to 80 millimeter of mercury. Then MAP. MAP everyone knows. That's the average pressure in the patient's arteries during one cardiac cycle. That will be 60 to 110. So minimum 60 should be there for the perfusion. If the patient has at least minimum 60 mm of Hg, then only the patient can perfuse the organs. Means the blood flow can reach the all organs, mainly in the brain. Then ICP, that will be like 7 to 15. So here you can see the formula CPP equals MAP minus ICP. So what happens if the ICP increases? If the ICP increases, the CPP will decreases. So it will cause brain damage. And I mentioned if any increase in these volumes like brain volume, CSF volume or the blood volume, that can increase ICP. How the brain volume can affect the ICP? So the brain volume means it's the brain matter. If there are any lesions or tumors or any abscess or any injury like bleeding inside the brain volume is increased. So if the brain volume is increased, the pressure inside the brain increases, so the ICP increases. Next, the CSF volume. I told before where the CSF is produced in the choroid plexus and it is draining to the ventricles, then it will go down to the spinal cord, then it's coming back to the brain, then some amount it is absorbed in the dural sinuses and then it goes to the venous circulation. So if there is any obstruction in the CSF flow, the CSF circulation, it can cause the increase in IC. Next is blood volume, that is CPP. If any decrease in the blood volume that is entering in the brain is low, like MAP is low, so in that case the blood volume will be it will be coming to the brain, that will be low. So in that case also the ICP will increase. So we'll see the clinical features of increase in intracranial pressure. So there will be low GCS. So everyone knows if there are any disturbance or in any damage in the brain can cause the low GCS. Then next one is headache. Why this headache is happening? So here you can see the layer meninges. So if the ICP is increasing inside the brain, the meningeal layer, it will stretch. So this meningeal layer is highly sensitive to the pain, that is causing the headache. Next one is vomiting. Why the vomiting is happening? So same the increase in ICP inside the brain, it pushes the medulla. This is the medulla oblongata. So this pushes the medulla. Then here, somewhere here, it's a nerve is passing through, that is vagus nerve. So it irritates the vagus nerve. The pressure irritates the vagus nerve and it causes vomiting, that is projectile vomiting. Next one we will see about the Cushing reflex triad, or we'll tell Cushing triad. So it's characterized by increase in BP, mainly systolic blood pressure, widened pulse pressure, bradycardia, irregular breathing. So how there will be increase in BP? First of all, if there any increase in the ICP, increase intracranial pressure, in case of increased ICP, so there will be CPP will be low because CPP means cerebral perfusion pressure, that is equal to MAP minus ICP. So the ICP will be going up, cerebral perfusion pressure will be low, means the amount of blood coming inside the brain, it will be low. So what happens? So this brain is telling, I am not getting the enough blood to perfuse the brain cells. So that time the hypothalamus it will activate the sympathetic nervous system, and this sympathetic nervous system will give a drive and it will send the adrenergic receptors in the blood vessels. So what the adrenergic receptors will do in the blood vessel is they'll do vasoconstriction. That's how the BP is increasing. So in this case, the systolic blood pressure is increasing. That's why can see the widened pulse pressure. What is the pulse pressure? That is the difference between the systolic and the diastolic pressure. So next come to bradycardia. As I told, like sympathetic nerve system is already activated, and the hypothalamus activates the sympathetic nervous system. Then the adrenergic receptors, it goes to the blood vessels. Then the vasoconstriction occurred. So this brain knows the BP is very high inside the body. So what the brain will do, it will again, so if the hypertension, if in this case the body will do, so the body has a compensatory mechanism for everything, everything in the body, it will try to compensate the body. So as a compensatory mechanism, the body will activate the parasympathetic nervous system, so that will cause in the decrease in the heart rate, that we call bradycardia. Then what's irregular breathing? How it occurs, irregular breathing? So I told like this before, when the ICP increases, this pressure ICP, this pushes the medulla. So everybody knows medulla is the respiratory center. Okay, it's control the respiration. So there any compression which can cause in irregular breathing. Stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching.